My sister-in-law has joined. My mom has joined.
Hello everyone, please welcome. Mridula, we're going live.
Yeah.
Hello Mridula,
Hi, Sharmila.
welcome to Odyssey, traversing through life. And I'm so happy that you could say you could take out some time and say a yes to me. It's been long due when I wanted to speak with you, your journey, and it's so it's so nice that today we are meeting. Just for
Yeah.
everybody else, let me just introduce the episode to everybody else. In Odyssey, what we discuss is our journey through life, how we traverse through life with all the highs and lows, the ups and downs, and all of us go through our own adversities. And this kind of episode is more relevant now because for the last 4 months, we all know what we are going through. The pandemic has really taken a toll on this whole world. I would say the universe is trying to reach us and tell us that look, pause and think what what the universe is trying to communicate to us. So I thought each one of us has a unique journey, and each one has experienced a lot of things which is very individual and you know uh, good, bad, ugly, both, and the best. I mean, we've been very happy, we've been very sad, we have been just about all right. So this is a time when we need to be happy because I think we are surrounded by so much of negativity that within ourselves we should get some happiness. And with that, I welcome you again. And we are going to talk about this is live conversation, so we'll make it very conversational. And welcome once more. But before I welcome you, I want to play your song, which you love. So let's hear your song.
बर्बादियों का शौक मनाना फजूल था मनाना फजूल था मनाना फजूल था हालात जो मिल गया उसी को मुकद्दर समझ लिया जो मिल गया उसी को मुकद्दर समझ लिया मुकद्दर समझ लिया मुकद्दर समझ लिया जो खो गया मैं उसको भुलाता चला गया जो खो गया मैं उसको भुलाता चला गया, हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ा।
Yeah, Mridula, we are back. Welcome with that song. Uh,
Thank you
that's
so
your
much.
favorite song, and that is so relevant. I think you know, हम the essence is मैं जिंदगी का शोक मनाता चला गया, हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला गया.
मैं
Wow,
जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला.
निभाता चला. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that's the conversation. मैं जिंदगी का साथ निभाता चला गया. And हर फिक्र को धुएं में उड़ाता चला, because it takes you know, all the worries generally take care of themselves, because we are just in the karmic process. Okay,
Yeah.
with that, Mridula, the conversation begins with you are a refined leader, you're doing so well in your life, so I would request you to please introduce yourself as to what you do, and for all our viewers, and how your journey has been in your professional life, and a bit about your personal life also, and then we come on to discuss life.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sharmila, and it's an honor and privilege to be here on this platform, and a very humbling experience to come here and share my journey, my stories. First of all, I would like to say pranam, namaste to all audience. Hello, everyone, those who are watching. And I would also say that please be patient and please bear with me as I narrate different incidences of life that have actually influenced my journey so far. So coming back to right now, I am Chief Executive Officer of Global Talent Track. It's a learning resourcing organization. And we do corporate trainings, we do CSR, amazing CSR initiatives, helping people from various backgrounds find employment, skill them, and really, really help them build their total potential and help them tap their total potential. So that's what I do right now. I've worked for organizations, I've led learning and development functions for organizations like Goldman Sachs, Nomura, as well as Genpact, Vertex, going a long way back. Worked in organizations in UK and Abu Dhabi, and share some of those interesting incidences as well. And I think that experience also was a huge learning experience. For me, it was very tough, but I recommend that everybody should do something of sales in their life, at least for a year in their life. It teaches you so many life lessons. It's amazing. But mostly I've been a talent development professional. I've done things in leadership development, coaching, training, diversity and inclusion, employee relations. So that's where I have been. In terms of my early childhood, I just, it was a very, very beautiful beginning of my life. I think in everyone's life, there are some anchors, and the way that my parents brought me up, the upbringing was just so amazing. It really anchored some deep values. And I'll share a couple of things. My grandmother was the first person with whom I used to hold her finger and go to various bhajans and kirtans, and also steal mangoes from refrigerator when everybody was sleeping early in the morning. She was a huge influence of love and learning and caregiving in my life. When I talk about my father, yeah, so my father, he actually taught me how to write poetry. He really, really inspired me. He wanted me to become a scientist. He saw no dream shorter than reaching the skies. And and always kind of inspired me to take whatever it is that you want to do, go for that. And that particular learning actually inspired me to write poetry. And I remember he used to say, Sahitya Sangeet Kala Vihina Sakshat Pashu Kuch Vishanhina. the person whose life is devoid of literature, music, and dance. And Sharmila, I think that will resonate a lot with you. They are pretty much living a life of an animal, nothing more than that. And that really kind of inspired me through that. Even various ups and downs in my life, he would say poetry is the spontaneous, flow of powerful emotions. And when you talk about that, whenever I'm happy, I express it through poetry or writing. When I'm sad, then also I let it go like that. And the other person who has had a major, major role in my upbringing is my mother. She taught me how to be a graceful woman and carry yourself. And I really thank her for that. But also on top of it, she taught me how to be really independent. And that resonated with me. I feel like if I was to define myself in one word, I would say I'm a very free-spirited person. And it's free-spirited not just in terms of things that you do, but also financially being independent is what she taught me. And that had a huge impact on my life. So I'll stop. I write poetry, as you can tell. I have two boys, most amazing kids, and I'd love to talk about them also a little bit. But yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Such an amazing journey. So, Mridula, we are going through a bad time. The pandemic is actually taken a grip on all of us, and I mean, mentally, some people are very upset. Businesses have been down, and then people are dying, and every day it's spiraling. The numbers are not coming down, but it's increasing by the day, and it's not only in our country; it's worldwide phenomenon. And because of the businesses going down, a lot of people are suffering. The migrant laborers and all that we spoke about. So what do you have to say? I mean, I think this is a time when there is a deep reflection which is also needed. So, how is your reaction to the whole situation for the last 4 months?
Yeah. So, yeah, it has been, like you said, it has been a really difficult time for a lot of people. But how have I dealt with it? So, I remember for 19th of March, we were doing a review all day long. We were in office doing the review, and that was the day that lockdown was announced. Uh, I think without really giving it much thought, we got into saying that how is it that we could take our business online? How can we think of continuity and what all is it that we need to do? So at that point in time, honestly, there was no time to think. So we really got into action. We had 10, 15 classes, 400 students across India who were in training classes. My training team just got into action. All the people saying, how can we continue with the business and how can we keep it alive? At the same time, we started talking to our clients who were also everybody was in shock, right? And they said, oh, now we can't do interviews. We were doing face-to-face. And then we said, no, but you can do, we have tried it for the last 2 days. We have been talking to our students online using Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we showed them how to do it. So I think we got into action mode and also tried to see what would be bothering our clients and tried to sort of help them through that process. But as lockdown started going on, and I remember I wrote a mail to my team pretty much in the first week of lockdown, first or second week of lockdown. And I shared certain tips about, first of all, even if it's lockdown and even if you're working from home, get up in the morning and at the time that you used to always go freshen up and get ready for work, do that. Don't just sit in your pajamas, get ready for work and start your day like that. Make sure that you are sitting right and eating right and taking breaks because within 2, 3 weeks, we were like so busy. Everybody that I spoke to, people were into back-to-back meetings and there was just no breather. So how do you take care of yourself? So we went through that, like amazingly hectic pace of life. And in that, we kept engaging with our teams. We kept talking to them. And I'm really talking from a work perspective. It was so important to stay in touch with the teams. And then came another time, another 4 weeks went by, and now people were starting to feel the fatigue of that. And at that time, throughout this whole period, I continuously also kept on doing regular meditation practice. Meditation actually always has helped me a lot. When times have been tough, it is something that has helped me stay very calm and anchor myself deeply and be able to think clearly. As when you are, so that has really helped. What else can I say? I would just want to narrate, actually go back in my life quite a few years when there was a situation which is kind of similar to this. This was the time that I was getting married, and the person that I had chosen, I was very happy. My husband Sarish, and he was working in an IT company. He's a very smart guy, talks very well, and he had a great job. He wears sparkling white shirts. So, I was really looking forward to that. And I was getting married in Allahabad. And, all that I looked at was saying he has a very stable career and we'll make a good life. He came to Allahabad and we were sitting at the fairas, and the fairy were about to start. And then he just whispers in my ear saying, I just quit my job. I've just quit my job and I've come. And I was, I was totally shocked. Both of us had no jobs. For the next, I think, 2.5 to 3 months, we didn't have jobs. And it was a very depressing time, just soon after you get married. And there were a couple of loans that we had taken. And we just didn't know what to do. And in that situation, Sharmila, day by day, things were getting worse. 3 months in that was really bad. And I still remember how we coped with it, because there were so many rejections and we didn't get jobs when we wanted. There was the time that every night when we went to bed, I would open up Bhagavad Gita and I'll read a page. And it gave me something, popped out like a message, and it gave me so much strength and clarity and purpose to go on, strength to go on. And I think we all have something in our lives that helps, which I call my pick-me-ups, something that pulls me up and picks me up and, in our tough times, helps us go forward. And I think we all have to find that one thing, even in these times. These times are great also to sit back and reflect, saying, what are some of the things that I should not be doing, or what are the things I should be doing? And diving within, searching within to find answers.
Mridula, I think today we are talking on a public platform where probably a lot of people are listening to us. But I remember my especially speaking to you in the IWLF conference where we spoke a bit about spirituality immediately after the spiritual session where you were a part of it. Yeah. So while you were speaking about your grandmother, it also reminds me of my grandmother and my mother's mother, who was from Mathura. And they had my mother is from Mathura, was from Mathura, and grew up there and got married and then came to Delhi. My father used to work in Delhi. So I remember for my summer vacations when I would go there, and every morning in Mathura, she was such a pious lady, it was on her face, like she had long white hair and Bengali widow of those times, and she'd left putting on any footwear. So she was always bare feet, and every morning, early morning, 5:36, she would wake me up and I would go with her to Dwarkadish and then to Yamuna River where she'd take a bath, and then we'll go to Gaudiya Math. Gaudiya Math is the Vaishnav way of, the Krishna, this thing. And there we would be in satsang, and this is my childhood. And when I was very, very young, I was in school, maybe 4th, 5th. So probably, it starts then. Once you are in the right values and, you are exposed to the right things, that, yes, there is some energy beyond this family, beyond the social space where we have to bow down. So I remember my father, while we were growing up, we would go to the temple every Tuesday, and there was a Hanumanji ka temple in our locality. So even for my boards, before going to appear for the exam, I would go and, first bow down, then touch my parents' feet, and then go for the exam. So I think the journey, yes, probably from our childhood, if something is imbibed inside you, it is only how you react to it and how you practice it later in your life. My mother was also very pious, because anyway, once I told you about my grandmother, my mother naturally was her daughter. So I learned a lot of things. Religious things, of course, from her, but the spiritual part of it came from my father, mother, grandmother, and it all began. You're right that there has to be that inner calling, that inner finding out that where is it which you have to relate to when you are in most adverse situation.
Yeah.
And you can't give up.
Yeah.
because that's the essence, that if we are in adversities, we just can't give up. We
Yeah.
Because we are surrounded by responsibilities, and
Yeah.
that is where I think the calling comes, where you connect and you have that inner strength. So in your life, do you think you faced certain, apart from this losing of where you both didn't have a job, but what are the other triggers where you thought you have to connect, and you connected, and today, as I know you, you follow a certain path of spirituality,
Yeah.
or a belief. So
Yeah.
if you can tell us a little more about it, I think people will love to hear
Yeah.
how it gives us a lot of strength.
Yeah. I will talk about spirituality, but before that, I just talk about some of the, oftentimes when we live this life, corporate life, and work in organizations, it also depends a lot on you how much you take on. And I somehow tend to take on a lot. I've just been very lucky all along to be doing something that I love to do. And I don't know whether that is by magic it has happened, that I have always been in spaces where I love to do things, or maybe that's my attitude. It could be either, but I think the important thing is, if you love what you do, a lot of hurdles and obstacles, you will figure out a way to navigate them. And because there is a purpose, because there is a drive, because you enjoy doing it and you can see the big picture. Um, it has been happened many times that situations would be at work, situations are difficult, there is politics, there is competitiveness, or you have people who will align with you but not align with you. So or sometimes there is just sheer work, the pressure of work, tough deadlines, and in that you have to perform. There was a time that I was really struggling with juggling things. Kids were very young. Uh, Home situation was a bit tough, and work was really tough. And it just went on for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And I realized as I was going through it that I'm just losing that connect with myself. When I used to sit and meditate, I used to have amazing experiences, and now nothing is happening. When I'm in the flow, I used to write poetry, but nothing is happening now. And every other night I'm sitting and by myself and crying, or just thinking life is so tough. And it's the auto suggestion that you give to yourself: life is so tough, life is so difficult. At that time I was not even in awareness that these are the negative suggestions I'm giving to myself. And I think I really needed help. And I remember one day, this was in Delhi, I just was mulling over it, saying, realizing that I need help. And I went to set up an appointment with a psychologist, and I went and saw the psychologist. And the first time I went, I remember it was just 2 meetings, Sharmila, but those 2 meetings helped so much. And it was what? Somebody who, first of all, they are professionals, so they know what they are doing. I mean, of course, there's friends, there's family, and they're always there, but they always will say, yeah, you are right, times are very tough. But a psychologist, perhaps who is trained, will also tell you that, look, you can get out of it. And a lot of people go through it, and it's no big deal, and here is how you will get out of it. So I think that help I sought, and I had that wisdom to seek that. And like in 2 3 meetings, I was back again with the bounce in my feet and twinkle in my eye and fire in my belly. um, and I think those things are really important. Meditation, when I was 12, I'll tell you about that journey. It's really beautiful. um, One day my dad said, we are going somewhere. And I was just 12, my brother was 8. And we went to this, we were in Gorakhpur at the time. And we went to this house in the, every city has, old cities have ghantagars. And it was a very busy, crowded area, narrow lanes. And through that we went, and there was this person, Dr. Devendra Nath Srivastava, Pandit Devendra Nath Srivastava. And he, uh, my father said, you come and we will do some meditation. So I remember first going to his house, and then we sat, and every Sunday, Saturday, it became a routine that dad will sit on his scooter and we'll go and we'll meditate for an hour. And it was so tough. Imagine sitting on a cane chair, sitting, trying to close your eyes and meditate. But as I got into it, there was such an amazing experience it was. And he was a Puritan, like he would not take anything from us, and he would just say, meditate, meditate. So keep yourself anchored on Om and don't get distracted throughout anything. And it was an amazing start of my journey in meditation. And that I kept on for a long period of time. Even, as I look back, whenever there have been challenges, whether it's relationship challenges or financial crisis or job losses, I think that's one thing that has really helped me is to meditate. And when I say meditate, what do we really do? We try to connect with ourselves. And I really feel that through this practice, I feel that there is a bright, shining, golden sun in each and every one of us. And we look here and there and everywhere. And I have also done it and I continue to do it, go out and seek help. But there is a sun inside all of us, and there is a place of peace inside all of us. And through quietness, you can find that place. How do you do that, Sharmila? I would love to hear, because I know you do a lot of this practice as well. Please tell your journey as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mridula. Thank you for asking me. In fact, I was so inspired to talk after hearing you. I think when we go through a breakdown in relationships, in the sense that when you lose somebody very close one, the void that it leaves behind is very difficult to fill up initially, and that's the time which is a very tricky time where people just lose out and go haywire. So for me, as I said, my childhood has been a kind of journey which has been very, on one side, it has been very pious. I would say pious in the sense, I wouldn't call it religious, but there was something I was surrounded with where my parents were hugely instrumental, and even the family I come from, my grandmother, she had a large contribution. So while I was growing up, certain things which I missed in life, which I desired so much, but then suddenly I felt no, then universe didn't give it to me, and I was denied. So it started with that. So when the denial came to my life, when I was always thinking I'm good, I'm great, and it didn't happen for me, and it was completely shattered. That is the time when I started looking into myself for strength, in the sense that I thought that no, I'm not weak. I'm there is something which also is in me, which will make me overcome this and get to what I want in life. So this is a journey which is transactional, I'm talking about. But finally, when you lose your close ones, and when you really go through that void, that is where I think I felt that my life is meant for filling up with only uh, you know cosmic energies. I mean, I more than deification, I feel it's a Atma and Paramatma which is there. Like you said, the sunshine is there inside you. So I've gone through my own, uh, I've gone through my own journey of setbacks in life. I lost my father, and I could never forgive myself because I was there in the hospital, and he kept on saying that he wanted to be off the ventilator. And I ran to the doctor. I was married, my husband was also there. So we went to the doctor. We said that I had a feeling, I'm very intuitive, I had a feeling he'll not live. I said, take him off the ventilator. So the doctor just, he rebuffed me and said, please go back. You're not a medical practitioner. Just go and uh, be there in the waiting room. And that night he passed away. So for years I carried that in my heart, that I was his elder daughter, and he asked me to do something, the last karma that I had. And it was very difficult for me to overcome. And then I lost my mother after 10 years. Exactly, they were 10 years young. My mother was 10 years younger than him, and she went, I don't know what connect they both had. She went, and she was very, very, very close to me. So after I lost her, I felt a part of me is gone with her. And it is still the same, Mridula. So that part has connected completely with the cosmic. I'll cry because this is a very serious conversation for me. So I have got myself connected somewhere, to the higher universe. And I mean, I'm very worldly otherwise. I will do all sorts of, I'll have fun, I'll do everything. But my deeper side is completely gone there, probably wherever she is, and wherever the cosmos is, it's connected. So my son has been saying that last 4 months you're so zoned out. So, probably one reason is that I'm somewhere feeling that there is a message which is coming to all of us, and we need to think about it seriously. We have to go slow. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have to just recreate work and be most insecure that what is going to happen. Whatever is
Yeah.
going to happen will happen. But just let's get connected. This is the time.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's the discussion we had in IWLF, that what has been your unique experience while you were journeying, and I would like you to tell everybody in Allahabad, what happened in the Sangam. That you see, these are very different kind of experiences, Midula, and
Mm.
probably this will help inspire, and people will understand and connect, and it's a kind of trance. So
Mm.
let's bring this here.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I mean, you've put me in a very pensive mood because as you were talking about it, I'll come to the Allahabad story just a bit, but I just kind of can't help but think about my brother, Vivek, and I lost him in 2011 to a car accident. And for a very small family, and my mother and my sister-in-law are here, my bhabhi, it was such a shock for a very small family, me, my brother, my mom, dad, Shalu, and their son Yash, and my kids, Rishi and Aryan. So it was such a jolt from the blue because he was a 39-year-old going to office, getting things done, and so active and so full of life. There was absolutely no reason for him to go. And then one fine day, suddenly, the plug was pulled. So I remember, coping with that. Initially, it was just a lot of work to be done, and just getting past those first 13, 14 days. It's only when I came back to Bangalore is when I really had a meltdown. I broke down, and I think it was really important to also express the grief, because a lot of times we don't express that grief, and then we continue to carry it and carry it. And I
Yeah.
expressed that grief in multiple ways. And one of them was to write a poem. So if you don't mind, there are 4 lines.
Please.
Can
Yeah,
I?
sure, sure.
So I'll I'll just read these 4 lines that I wrote for my brother Vivek at that time. रफ्तार जिंदगी की कुछ थम सी गई है, रफ्तार जिंदगी की कुछ थम सी गई है, कुछ सोच कर आंखें नम हो गई हैं, पहचाने से सफर में हर चेहरा अजनबी है, पहचाने से सफर में हर चेहरा अजनबी है, तेरी हंसी तेरी बातों की कमी खल रही है, सांसों का आना जाना तो बरकरार है, सांसों का आना जाना तो बरकरार है, पर दर्द कुछ ऐसा कि बर्दाश्त से बाहर है, खुदा रहम कर एक झलक दिखला जा, खुदा रहम कर एक झलक दिखला जा, इसके पहले कि निकले मेरा जनाजा.
क्या बात है. How sublime. So when did this happen?
So this happened in 2011. But Sharmila, the beautiful part is that I think he went, but there was just such a lot of blessing that came into my life, and it continues to come every day. And the first few years that he left, there's a lot of things that came to my life that just felt like blessings, and I started to see numbers, I started to see butterflies and communication from angels, and there was just a lot of divinity that started to come. And today I think I am in the lap of divinity. I'm
Wow.
just feel like so blessed. And then you are, and that is only by connecting deeply with your own self. And when that happens, then the journey is absolutely, absolutely amazing. And
How,
yeah.
how
And
true.
yeah, the Allahabad experience was just very beautiful. There was Shivamji, he had come to Allahabad, his sister.
Shivam is your guru?
Yeah, he's my guru. Yes, he's my spiritual guru. And there were 8, 9 of us, and it was a beautiful, amazing experience. Perhaps it's for another day, but I'll just say that I was really floating. We were in Allahabad. We traveled around a lot of places. We were in Varanasi, various temples, and walkabouts and lunches and dinners and breakfasts, and it was just a very blissful, divine experience. And it was connecting with yourself at every sense of the way. And there were a lot of miraculous things also that you experience, when you are connected. So So I would just say that much right now, Sharmila.
Yeah, all right.
But from that time onwards, I will tell you that I just find myself happier. I find things happen in my life easier and better and faster. Earlier, the same thing would be very difficult, and I'll tell you, like it's a business decision. I'm trying to influence a person to give us an advance in a particular business deal. And earlier, it would be like such a hard thing, multiple conversations. It'll happen, it may not happen, and now things happen with what I call effortless ease.
Wow.
And it just things happen, and sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, oh my god, it really happened so easily. Things are flowing. And one of the things that I say therefore to all, practice gratitude. You know, everything that you have in your life, oftentimes people say, oh, this is not there, lockdown is there, so I can't go out, I can't meet my friends, I can't order food, I can't party, I can't, do anything. But I every day, first of all, I don't miss going out, honestly, and I'm not a recluse, I'm a very social person. But I sit at home and I thank for all the beauty that is there, all the peace is there. I have uninterrupted time for meditation. I stand in front of my balcony and look at the view and connect with nature. And that is just so amazing. In the rut of life and all these 25 years, I was running. And there was no time to, appreciate things and really live in the moment. There was no time. And then how do you make your life, you have a time of 10 hours. You can just have that time of 10 hours, or every minute, every second, you can make it deep. It's not like you say, when the painter becomes the painting, when the song, singer becomes the song, its dancer becomes the dance. When you are so deeply ingrained into anything that you're doing, then you don't have to sit in a posture to meditate. Then every moment of your life becomes meditation. Now that I'm talking to you, I'm 100% with you. I'm in here with everybody who's there. People who are listening to us. I'm with them. I'm connected. So it just feels so beautiful, and that is, I feel, is meditation.
Very, very, I mean, very, very, what should I say? It's like, it's so deep, Mridula. I think you just said it, and yet it is so sublime and on a different level. So with that reminds me, let's welcome everyone. So
Yeah.
on my screen, I welcome your mother. I see a name which is similar to my mother. My mother was also Uma. So I see Uma Sharma, Shalini Sharma, Shamili Basu, Latika Roy, Seema. Welcome. These are the names which are there on my screen, and I see on in Facebook we are joined by Ria. Ria always joins me. Thank you, Ria. Shuvendu is my brother. He's also here. Thank you, Shuvendu. Deepak. Uh, hi. Thank you for joining. Sagarika has joined us this time. Sagarika, welcome. I know you from JSW days. I mean, I don't know, you won't recollect, but there was some connect for which I had to get in touch with you. Ankur has joined us. Earth, wow. Earth is watching us. Earth, hi. How is US keeping you? Brave boy. Kazim, hi Kazim, long time. Sharmishta is here. I'm so happy. Mridula, it's because you, Sharmishta, is here. I've been inviting her for so many
Thank you so
of my
much.
episodes. I've never seen her. So, Sharmishta, welcome. Vinti is here. Vinti, welcome. Yeah, so I think, yes, I think you're right. I also believe in the same thing that you don't have to sit and meditate. You are always connected. And somewhere, when I do my riyaz, I mean, I don't do riyaz so regularly, but I love music. So, when I sing, I'm a spontaneous singer. So, since I don't do my riyaz, so at times I go a little, I mean, I'm not a typical professional singer, but when I sing casually, I mean,
Why don't you sing a tune or two, Sharmila? I would love to hear.
not
Please.
here, please.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody would love to hear as well
No,
a
no,
tune.
that's fine. Thank you so much. We are having a nice conversation. I don't want people to run away because right now I'm just
I'm
out of
sure not.
practice. But I love music, and I think music is a great source of connecting you to, when I do my meditation, I do Om. I start with Om. So that Om itself, the moment you say that, just, you're just floating. You're just floating. That's my experience of how I take the whole experience. I feel I'm floating, I'm just gone, I'm not there.
Yeah.
And to the
Yeah.
extent, Mridula, it has happened to me that um, I've lost consciousness. I mean,
Mm.
it's just that you just feel you are somewhere connected, and it was a very different experience I've
Yeah.
had. So anyway, I'll not go into the depth. I mean, very deep into it because we're talking a different thing here. But yes, I think in life it's very very important to in fact, uh, I was talking to Sharmishta, and I have requested her for a discussion. So cleansing is very important, when you cleanse your mind, when you cleanse yourself, and once you cleanse yourself, you allow the energies to come in. You open the door of your Atma, and and anyway, Paramatma is also within us, the sunshine. So you reactivate your body. I think the chakras get reactivated, the energy sources, and that's where you're receiving from the cosmic energy, and you are becoming more aware and evolved. So my experience of understanding this whole journey begins here. Uh, so what is your say in this? I mean, how do you think that anybody should get their get tuned into their own strengths? What is the way? What should be done?
On cleansing, what you talked about, I think that is really important, because that otherwise becomes a roadblock. And superficially you could be doing everything right, or but at the deeper level, those things will always come back, and whether they are negative thoughts or your own anxieties or fear or lack of self-love. And nobody is born perfect, but we all can work towards making taking that journey step by step. So I remember, just it happened recently, about maybe a month or 2 months back. There was certain things that I was really struggling with, and as I was doing my meditation practice, I knew that this is one thought or one pain point that always comes back, and it's holding me back, and I need to release it. I need to and you would know it because it's always playing on your mind. I was talking to Guruji, and he said that pain is good. And if when you're there in that pain, you just analyze it and go deeper, and try to understand what is the source. Because beyond the source is learning, and beyond that learning is liberation. And I said, yeah. So then I said, okay, let me see what does he really mean. And I sat with that thought, and I tried to analyze it. And it's painful, because you want to just like brush it aside and go listen to music or chat with somebody and distract yourself. Oftentimes we do that. When we are in pain, we just want to distract ourselves. Let's take our mind away and do something else. But I sat with that thought and that pain, and I sat for almost an hour trying to figure out, okay, what is the source? What is the source? Where am I going with it? Deeper and deeper. And then there was a sense of loss. I felt a sense of loss. So I said, what is this sense of loss? What is it that I'm losing? And I went deeper, and I was in almost meditative state at that time, Sharmila. And the deeper I went, I could actually see myself sitting there, like a frailer version of myself in woods. I can actually describe that scene, by the water. And it's a place where a lot of autumn leaves are there all around, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm very sad. And and I'm the person who's looking at me being very sad sitting there. And suddenly it dawns on me, the loss that I was thinking about is losing this part of Mridula. And it is a part of you that's not serving your purpose anymore, that's not fully aligned in your journey anymore. So you are losing that particular part. And we have to all, in order for us to grow, we have to lose some of those things, right? Like you said, cleansing, some of the things we have to let go to then create path for other things. So as I saw, okay, I have to lose a part of me, and losing a part of you is always sad, right? It's like losing a part of your soul. But the minute I realize, okay, I have to let go of this part of me, is because this will help me to grow further, and let go of whatever is blocking me in my spiritual journey and progress, and, loving myself and then loving everybody unconditionally. So the minute that realization happened, I went beyond. And this was the learning, and this was the realization. And it felt so light after that. And I think maybe something shifted in me in that moment. And these are these little experiences that one after the other take you where you on that journey. And it's a continuous journey. It's sometimes very difficult to work on yourself. It's
Yeah,
tough, it's hard work, it's not
very,
easy.
very tough. Yeah.
But I think every day you also, when you see the benefits of it, when you see the blessing, it's just every bit of it is worth it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's something, it's not easy to work on yourself, or, to get into the deeper part, because I think a lot of people are simply scared, because
Yeah,
the moment because I think this journey, this delving down in your own self also opens up a Pandora's box, where
yeah,
you really are exposed to certain things which may not be to your liking.
yeah. And another
Just,
thing I would say is that, when you come in the, first of all, you find a guru by grace of God, right? When you are ready and when you have yearned for it much, and when you are really ready for it, is when a guru comes in your life. And when the divinity is there, and when in the presence of that divinity, you can only grow, and you have to let go of what is not serving you. So all your negativity, or all your things that come in the way of your growth, finding your own true self, it will all automatically start to dissolve. And guru will show you the true uh, face, your true mirror. Like, I was just reading something somewhere, there's a beautiful ghazal. Somebody said that you can put yourself in the most golden of frames, but the picture will always tell the truth. Mirror never lies. It always shows you who you really are, right? And a guru tells you that. And he also often says a guru is a person who takes you from darkness to light. And
so
I,
you're
I'm
in your
blessed.
So in your journey of life, you were saying you found your guru, and now it's Guruji who's leading you and showing you the way and the path. And the more you journey on that path, the more you are realizing that life is so beautiful. And another thing which I think I take from your conversation is that you're letting go of what was not you.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah,
Even though it is painful, but you are leaving
yeah.
that behind.
Yeah, through conditioning, we have so many patterns, and those patterns have to break of our conditioning for the real person to evolve, for the true self to evolve. And then, every relationship then becomes very beautiful. And I'll tell you, with my kids, just a quick example I will take of that. What sort of, I remember I had written long time back in 2006 that what is my mission in life? And I had written that I want to realize my fullest potential. And perhaps I wrote it in the context of work and, whatever capability God has given me. While I'm on earth, I should make the maximum most of it. That was my first sentence. And once I am on that path, then I want to help others to realize their fullest potential. So this I wrote in 2006. And then another thing I wrote was that I want my children to really grow up as good human beings. And just in that, and they are very different. Sometimes I wonder, like, are they really my children? They are so different from me in the way that they think, in the way that they talk. And I think that's so beautiful, because when we have conversations, we have such diverse perspectives. They have their own person. They are their own people. They make their own decisions and their choices. But at the end of the day, they are beautiful human beings. And just during this lockdown, how we utilize that time was I found my love for cooking. And every day, morning and evening, I would be in kitchen cooking and trying to please these boys in how well I cooked and what did I do. And but in the process, slowly it transitioned to me saying, okay, Rishi, come on, I'll teach you how to knead the dough. Teach you how to make rotis or your paneer sabzi. And you won't believe it, now they just do it by themselves. And I'm so surprised that I have both the boys who can now make rotis on their own. And I think it's also how we raise boys. It's not just about the stereotypical boys who would be, I think it's so important to give them those values of everybody's all hands on the deck. And when the family is together, then everybody, all hands on the deck, and everybody has a role to play, and they play that role beautifully.
That is so nice. In fact, Aditya helps me out and he's sitting right beside
I
me.
know
So
he's always there around you
yeah,
helping
for
you.
these things, and he keeps telling me that you learn this. But believe me, Mridula, in these 4 months, I have not gone to the kitchen at all. It has been
Wow.
him trying various recipes to the extent that at times I tell him that Aditya, today I want to have this. Will you cook for me? Though we have a regular cook in the house, he's a 24 hours this thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I think this is the value we have to give to the next generation, that
Yeah.
they can cope up with a lot of things which probably has been a part of our
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
So what about
And
music? How important is music in your life?
music is absolutely amazing piece in my life. It's it's a thing of joy for me. It's a thing of healing for me. It's whenever I listen to music, it just I can feel it flow through my system. And I always, as a when I was younger, I my mother tried very hard to teach me music, and she got these classical singers to make me sing. And I don't think I really got too far with it. So I used to feel very sad. And I remember I used to pray to God saying, you one thing you didn't give me. I love music so much. It flows through my veins, but you didn't give me sur. Like I can't sing really. I can't carry a tune. So, okay. So I remember having a pact with God once, I remember saying that if I sing bhajans, then make my tune good. If any other thing is fine, but when I sing bhajans, make my tune good. And that was my pact. And I think I love doing bhajans also.
So God listened to you.
I think when I sing bhajans, I think I can do a decent
So
job.
can we have a bhajan from you?
I'll sing a couple of lines only. Yeah. Any particular choice you have?
See, bhajan is again, Mridula, there are no choices. Whatever you sing is fine.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. So please, my friends and family, please bear with me. I'll just sing this bhajan that I love to sing. अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरम् अच्युतं केशवं कृष्णदामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं रामनारायणं जानकीवल्लभं कौन कहता है भगवान आते नहीं कौन कहता है भगवान आते नहीं मीरा की तरह तुम बुलाते नहीं मीरा की तरह तुम बुलाते नहीं अच्युतं केशवं कृष्ण दामोदरं रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् रामनारायणं जानकी वल्लभम्.
Very nice, Mridula. Who says that you don't sing well?
Yeah,
You
so
have so much of music in you.
the God listened to me on
No,
that.
it's not only bhajan. I'm sure you are a good singer. I mean, such a beautiful
Thank you so much.
rendition.
Thank you so much. And I just, you had asked me that question about what carries you through life. And, I just want to say that uh, a lot of times these days, people become they tend to put people in boxes, right? Either you are spiritual or you are a party animal. And my friends are here from college. They know me from when I was 17. And they would know that, I would love to party just as hard. And even then, I would want to meditate also just as much. And, I would want to sit with bhajans and enjoy it just as much. And everybody will say, oh, how can you enjoy that? How can you enjoy ghazals? When they would have seen me the previous night dancing to Saturday night. So I think it's really about who you are. And if you can express yourself truly, then all shades of life are there in your personality. And I cannot go without saying how blessed I am with the friends that I've had. Through school and college, I've had some amazing friends who've just stood by me through times of difficulty, in times of fun. We've had a lot of fun together. And I know I can always lean on them and count on them for whatever. So at the end of the day, I feel we are all connected. We create our own boundaries, right? We create our differences. We see the other person as somebody else, but at a very deeper level, we are all one. We are just, that source, the golden sun that I talked about. We are expressing ourselves through that golden sun in different ways. So today you are Sharmila, I'm Mridula, there is Shamali, and there is Shalini, and there's Latika, and there's Sharmishta, and then at the core of all of us is the same, just perhaps at different levels of consciousness, right?
Absolutely right. And that is where, I think this um, practice of connecting to your own self is
Yeah,
very, very important. I remember having read many masters, many lives, and there Dr. Brian Weiss is explaining the different level of beings, Mridula,
yeah,
and
yeah,
at what level of, it all depends on at what level of being you are in. If you are in a certain level of being where you are aware, with awareness comes responsibilities, and you will be on the right karmic path because you are
yeah,
an aware human being. And the moment, I mean, I found a lot of similarity between a management, this thing with Maslow's need hierarchy and his level of being when he says that you get that nirvana, moksha, and Maslow says self-actualization. So, that's the time probably you are an aware human. And to get that awareness within yourself, I think you need to connect to yourself, the
yeah,
basic steps. Uh, I mean, I think you are way ahead because you said you're connected all the time, which is what I feel that probably, even after, and I'm also a party animal. And people wonder that how can she speak so seriously when on the other side this is completely different, Sharmila
yeah,
altogether. But I think that's how we have multifaceted personalities, and
yeah,
uh, but that ekagrata, the centeredness needs to be there. Even when you're partying, once you know what you are, what you're doing, how much you're doing, I mean, you can go to any extent, but with a certain consciousness, and that you are responsible for your
I think,
behavior.
yeah, that's what is mindfulness, right? Being able
Yeah,
to
that
live in
is
awareness. Yeah,
yeah. So I think uh, this is a life journey where probably connecting to your being and taking your being to the different levels, you climb levels, and there will come a time when you will feel that yes, everything else, I mean, like you said, we are all connected, whether
yeah,
it's Shalini, it's Shamali, it's Sharmila, it's Mridula, it's Ria, it's, you know Manju is there, my school friend, she's watching me. So um, Devyani is my school friend watching me. uh, Vinti is my school. Some of my school friends have just joined. So we are all one. But then this consciousness is very important. And this consciousness, to get into this consciousness, I think we need to be very agile in our subconscious mind and the deeper self. I think that's how it happens, Mridula. I think I had a wonderful conversation with you today.
thank you so much.
Uh,
Me too.
it was,
And I'm wondering if I can extract that one song from you, Sharmila. Please go ahead.
I'm really bad, Mridula, because there's so much in my mind, no. So I'm a
Yeah,
good. Otherwise, I sing well, but then
yeah.
okay, but I don't know how it will go. But then, since you are saying you sang a bhajan, so I was thinking today we'll start this episode uh, with a few lines from a Hindi film song, but
Okay.
uh, on the lines of bhajan.
Yeah. Okay.
इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, हम चले नेक रास्ते पे, हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना, इतनी शक्ति हमें देना दाता, मन का विश्वास कमजोर होना, हम चले नेक रास्ते पे, हमसे भूल कर भी कोई भूल होना. That's it.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
just for
Thank you.
4 months.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Sharmila, I'm just seeing some couple of comments on the chat.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to say thank you and lots of love to my friend Nivi, um, and also Sonia Kurana for beautiful comments. Thank you so much.
You want to read it out and thank
Yeah,
them?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, please do that.
So Nivi is saying, thanks for sharing your beautiful poem for Vivek, and that's my brother, and talking about your life's journey. You have a special quality that you spread joy and beauty everywhere you go, and we are blessed to experience it. I've got to go now. Okay, really enjoyed. Love you, Nivi. Mm. And Sonia, I also agree with what Miss Nivi is saying. Thanks, Mridula, for coming back into my life. Remember every minute we spent together, good old days. It was beautiful, Miss Sharmila. Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Sonia.
you so much. And even I think Manju is saying that it was beautiful. Vandana, thank you for saying, Midula, that's for you, beautifully said. Vandana Paul is saying that Midula beautifully said. Uh, uh, Sonia is watching us from Dubai and she's liking our conversation. Mr. Roy Chaudhary, thank you for being with us. Anjali, thank you for joining us. It's been a long time. Uh, Samina Bodhi, most welcome. Thank you.
And I have my dear friend Gungun also here and Latika. So love you guys. Thank you so much for coming online and encouraging. Thank you, Shalu.
So, Mridula, what is it that you would like to tell everybody? I mean, if you can, just summarize and just talk in essence about the life journey that is in common, that is also different for everybody. I mean,
Yeah,
certain parts, the highs and lows are common, but
yeah,
everybody experiences it in their own ways. So,
yeah.
what is it you would like to say to everyone before we finally say a goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, just couple of life lessons. How I live my life. Some simple statements. One is smile, come what may. Because I think every dark cloud has a silver lining, and if you keep smiling, you keep finding joy in even the most difficult of circumstances. Things will happen easily for you. The second is whenever you are in pain or sadness or any kind of emotion that's sort of pulling you down, or even when you're extremely happy, it's what my dad taught me, that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions. So, and I have often found that in my expression, when I'm really sad, I write the best of poetry. It just because it really comes straight from the heart. So for me, it is poetry. For you, it might be writing. For somebody else, it might be chatting with a friend or going for a walk, evening walk. So different people have different things, right? So find your own pick me up. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Put yourself out there. For me, shifting from one city to another was never a challenge. And every time I am scared of a situation, a new thing to get into, I will be scared. I'll have palpitations, but I'll go in it. And then after a few days, I'll be fine. And it'll be new learning. So I think, yeah, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And the last lesson, which I have learned very hard way in this lifetime, is say no when no is due. Oftentimes we want to keep people happy, keep everybody happy. So we go along and it just results in tremendous amount of accumulated pain. So when you don't agree with something, just say no. Saying it early is much easier than saying it much later. So yeah, and those are some of the life
Nice.
lessons.
So nice. So let me summarize. So I think my take is that yes, as you said, I take to painting or I take to writing or I sing. I mean, I just when I'm very upset, so I'll put my, I have a speaker. I put the cord on and Bluetooth say I'll sing uh, on music. I mean, karaoke music or generally if you just tune in. The other thing is painting. So, Mridula, one very essential thing in life is uh, unconditional love, which is very
Mm.
difficult for us. See, when we love ourselves and we say that Atma and Paramatma is one. So, when we love God, we love Shiva. I mean, I love Shiva. I come from that background where my I mean, the man is Shiva. So I bow down. So it's an unconditional love. It's a love with detachment. I have a temple, I go and talk every day, and I know it is not going to be answered. So when I'm sitting in my meditation at times which I want to center around myself, so it's just for centeredness. I sit in my meditation, I only see him sitting in front of me. So, uh,
So beautiful.
yeah, so I see him in front of me, and at times I'm crying. I went to Kathmandu and I was doing darshan. I don't know, I knew nobody in Kathmandu. I was absolutely a person who'd gone alone and he wanted to do darshan. So everything became so easy for me. And when I was doing Rudra Abhishek, that the Rudraksh from his this thing, there 10 Shivas there, and the Shivling has a face. So from his neck, the Pandit took out a Rudraksh and put me in my neck. And I
Wow.
was only crying. I
Mm,
was standing there, and it was an amazing connection. So
yeah.
I feel unconditional love, detachment, without not so much of expectation from relationships,
Yeah.
and unconditional love, and somewhere just having that connect
Yeah.
and still being in the life journey is something which probably is
Yeah.
called for. And I think this awareness, if people get it, if everybody has an individual
Yeah.
journey, it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be beautiful.
I
And with
think that's
that,
the mission and that's the purpose we are all on, right?
yes, yes,
Ensuring, trying to say that everybody experiences that beauty and that bliss
correct.
in this life. Yeah.
Thank you so
So
much, Mridula. It was so
thank you.
lovely talking to you. I mean, I was in a kind of different zone.
So,
Yeah, because
and
this
see that. Yeah.
conversation is
So
what I
beautiful.
was seeking,
Yeah.
and you gave it to me today. I mean,
Thank you so much.
in my
Thank you.
third episode on ODC, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you. I
Love you.
always loved you because
Yeah.
I don't know, I found it very different. Thank you so
Thank
much, and
you.
it was very nice.
And
At least for me,
thank
it
you
was
to
very
everybody
nice.
who's watching. Thank
Everybody
you
who
so much.
watched, I'm sure they must have liked it. And God bless you. Stay
Thank you
blessed,
so much,
stay
Ramya.
happy this way. Somebody said your smile is infectious, so keep smiling.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
And thank you everyone who's watching us. Thank you everybody who joined us, taking your precious time out. I'm really grateful. Gratitude. Thank you so much.